Tonight's going to be a great talk. We got Dr. B Serious in the house. So what's going on, Dr. B? What's new?
Man, it's incredible. We're in an incredible time. And as we have been talking for a while, about how this is the beginning. This is not the end. This is the beginning. And when you see things going crazy, it looks like they're crazy. They're directing you towards the craziness. Meanwhile, it's like a field of possibilities out there. It's like if you were starting a business, you could decide to jump in the ocean. Let's say you got a big blue ocean and you got an area where there's white water, where there's sharks and all the fish are at, and where the people are over there trying to gather to catch all the fish. You could go over there, or you can go out into the great blue sea, where there's no one, where there's no competition. Because when you get focused, there is no competition when you're really you, especially when you're using your natural God power.
Yeah, that's so powerful. That's so true. I mean, that is when, when somebody can hear what you just said and focus on it and meditate on that, it's so deep because it's so factual. And like, man, I try to tell people all the time, you have to understand that the true power's already inside of you. It's all about how do you tap into it. And that's what we're going to be teaching in God Power Part 2. We taught that in God Power Part 1. Part 2 is going to be a lot more dynamic, which is what I love. Things that you're going to be talking about, that I'm going to be talking about, is really, really hard to just say, I'm going to go look on YouTube and get this knowledge and I'm going to learn it. I'm going to master it just from looking at YouTube. I mean, you probably have to scour hundreds of videos and there's no guarantee you're going to get it right. But what we're going to do is give you our personal guidance along the way and teach you the way that we know how your mind can actually download it, take it in, discern it, and actually begin to apply it. And so tonight we're going to kind of dabble on subconscious alignment, which is a powerful topic. And Dr. B, would you give them a little dribble on what your version of subconscious alignment is?
When your conscious mind, which is the one that's basically thinking, the one that has a desire, is in the same alignment with your subconscious, or when I should say your subconscious is in alignment with what you desire, then you're in a whole brain state. But what happens is that subconscious is full of so many programs. I mean, even before you were born, there's programs that are programmed in there, which are ideas, which are energies. And then, after you're born, you get stories. There's all these movies that you're told by your parents in the world, and you're watching the television, and all of these things are shaping your world, which you may call that reality. You know what I'm saying? But it's not really real. That's just the world, the way you're seeing it. So when your subconscious, right, at times may seem like it's a saboteur, like it's trying to stop you from success, actually, it's testing you. Because that subconscious, those old programs are there to be broken, to be changed. And there's some subconscious programs that are good that we need to bring forth and use now. So when your will, what you desire, right, which is your conscious mind, is in alignment with your subconscious, they're working together in tandem, they're on the same team, then you will be successful. But most times our subconscious is programmed with so many ideas, so many thoughts, so many experiences that, and most of them you don't even know about. Because a lot of folks say, well, I'm conscious, and I've read all these books. I said, well, see, a lot of people are extremely conscious, but their subconscious still got them, because those old programs they're in there deep. And each one of those programs and experience basically has a bodyguard standing by the door saying, hey, who are you? And you want to get in to fix it. The subconscious says, well, who goes here? And you don't know the code because you're not the same person. So that subconscious alignment technique that we talk about and that we use helps people get past the blockages and helps them get to the place that they truly desire with as little resistance as possible. That's the key with subconscious alignment.
Yeah, that's the key. I hope you're all listen. Dr. B is going in early, man. He's dropping this serious knowledge. Anyway, so now, what's important about the subconscious alignment, I think a lot of people also don't realize, is we sometimes do it, but we take it for granted. We don't realize that we're putting ourselves in alignment with things all the time, right? Subconsciously. And a lot of the times it's things that we don't want to be aligned with. And I think people tend to align themselves with things that they shouldn't be aligning themselves with, because they begin to attract more of that into their life. And they can't seem to figure out how all these problems and issues and drama and trauma is following them. I think they kind of become a Pied Piper for that when they're aligning themselves subconsciously with the wrong things without even knowing it. You know, like, for example, a person that is always gossiping about somebody and always talking negative and dark about other people, all of a sudden they tend to have a lot of people, of course, looking at them sideways, talking about them sideways. Maybe they're hearing more gossip and hearsay about themselves, and they go, man, they're talking about me too. And so, then you begin to talk about other people, or the people you think they're talking about you, and it becomes this vicious cycle that you become in alignment with this dark energy of gossip. And that's just one example. What do you think about that, Dr. B?
I think that's huge, because one of the things we're going to talk about in this workshop class, this is more than that. This is actually a college course, the universal college course, is language. A lot of times the language that we're speaking is this language of disempowerment. It's like the language of slaves, or this language of sheep. And you're asking for something, but in the asking, it's questionable what you're saying. When I was seeing clients, I would ask them, what is your desire? And it would be a whole hour of me working with them to even get them to say exactly what their goal is. Because we're not taught to be goal-minded. We're taught to think first about the problems, the hurdles, you know what I'm saying? The pitfalls, what could happen, how hard it's going to be. We were taught the language of struggle. You see, instead, we're going to teach the language of how to speak the words of the gods. We are the godness. It's in us. But you have to speak a very special language. Like, even if you say, well, I want. As soon as you say, I want, listen to the vibration. Listen to the sound of that. I want. You see how it's crashing like an airplane? Yeah. We can at least lift it up and upgrade it to I desire. I desire. But then you got to get to a point where you actually have it. You are kinesthetically, auditory, visually creating what the waves that you send into the quantum field. And you got to do that a lot, because repetition is key until it materializes. You see what I'm saying? But if you're out voting for people, I got to go vote. I got to go this, my religion, my church. I got my friends, and you some people told me, I had a couple clients that called and said, look, I was at the God Power, man, and I told all my friends about it, and they got upset, and they told me I was crazy and I was in a cult. I said, so what did you do? Well, I don't use all the techniques. They were kind of working, and they scared me. You see, we're full of fear. We're fearful even of what we truly desire, and we don't know it subconsciously. So a language speaking exactly what it is, what is the goal, thinking goal-minded is key. And we're going to teach that in the class. And this is the first time I've taught it on this platform, where, I'm not going to teach you the whole thing. We're going to teach you just the pieces that you need to know to get you through the next few years, because these next 5, 6, 7 years, this is it for us. This is the beginning of a whole new vibration. We've never been here before. So people who say history repeats itself, no, this is brand new. You look up, sometimes you see 2 suns now, you see 2 moons. People are seeing vertical rainbows, and all of these things are happening because we're being shown something. Even some of the ships that we're seeing, I talked about this the other night, is actually us in the future. Or we're coming from inner space sometimes, talking to ourselves. If you could talk to your younger self, what would you say? You see, but a lot of times when we're asking for something, we're saying should not, could not, would not. Listen to that. I mean, these conjunctions, isn't that what they call them? Conjunctions.
Conjunctions, right.
What is it? A conjunction? It's both. It's could not, should not. You see, when you start saying I am something, and you don't know what you are, because most of what we have learned is nothing. 90% of what we have learned doesn't mean anything until you're recreating every second. And what was that you said, Billy? Like, we were talking about how every millisecond, the particles of your body of all of you are disappearing and reappearing. That's deep. That means that you get to be reborn every day. So this birthday that you think you had is today. Today is your rebirth day. You just had a birthday, didn't you? A rebirth day?
Yeah, I just did.
Happy rebirthday. Not happy,
Thank you.
joyful, successful,
Joyful.
prosperous.
Right. Yes.
Happy is
Thank you.
just a happening.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah. 52 cycles around the sun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, man. So when you have the tools of empowerment, when you have the tools of tapping into the God power within you, which, by the way, let me just say this really quickly. The average person is afraid of their God power. They're afraid of it because they were taught to be afraid of it. I mean, the people who created this system, and I don't think it was a people. I don't think anybody sat down and said, let's do this to the people. I think it just happened over time. You know what I'm saying? People bought into it so well. Where you can actually have these superhuman, they're not even superhuman powers, they're natural powers that we're afraid of.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people, you hear about witchcraft. Well, I'm wondering which craft, which ship, which craft sounds like which ship, which tool are you using? What is your craft? Do you work with water? Do you work with minerals? Are you working with investments? You know what I'm saying? Is it liquidity pools? I mean, what are you doing? You working with Billy? I mean, what is your craft? What are you using? But we hear witchcraft. Oh my God, they're witches. Which is a question. Yeah. It's a question. What is your craft? So we're going to help people find out what their craft is really quickly, teach them the language, right? So that they can move towards that goal, then get the two sides of the brain. And what's really interesting was when I found out that you were going to be talking about hemisync. I said, this is crazy. I'm talking about whole brain state. He's talking about hemisync. And this happens a lot with you and I. We don't even talk about what we're going to talk about, but we're synced up. Yeah. It's crazy. I was looking at the list. I said, wow, we didn't talk about this, but the pieces go together perfectly. And I think that's beautiful. I've never experienced anything like that before. So this is a beautiful time. And we want to share it with everyone out there. Absolutely. We're always in the subconscious alignment together. We're on the same frequency. It's so bizarre because even in the previous Blueprint for God Power, what you were teaching played off of what I was teaching. Both things complemented each other, right? And so we always seem to have that going on where somehow we're on the same path, we're on the same synchronicity, we're on the same alignment. It's incredible, which is why I love working with you, man. I just love working with you because we're on the same alignment. We understand things the same way. And you have a different way of explaining it than I do, but we come to the same conclusion, which is phenomenal. And some people, they desire to hear it that way. They need both sides. Some folks are more, they need to hear more of the, the entertainment side of it, make it more fun. Some folks need it more, they need it analytical. So we're actually working on both sides of everyone's brain right now. And our brains right now, right, we're dealing with neuroplasticity. Your brain and your nervous system is changing in every millisecond. But if you keep doing the same thing, speaking the same way, walking the same way, eating the same way, and following others who are lost. I mean, are we wandering for 40 years? Who was that was wandering for 40 years and everybody followed him? Moses. They followed him. He didn't find 40 years. Some people died. You know what I'm saying? So we are at a brand new point where the downloads and the uploads are really important. So we're waiting for the download, just like some folks are waiting on somebody to save them. So the upload is just as important. What are you sending out? What would you like? Where would you like to be? Who are you now? And can you live it and feel it now as if it is here this moment? That's where we're going. And we've got to crystallize that. And that's what, to me, we were taught that Christ meant crystallized imagination. We got to crystallize our imagination because those imaginal cells, right? They're waiting for you to tell them what to do. That's right. What is your goal? What are you doing here? Yeah. I think what are you doing? A lot of people don't realize that we're the captain of the ship. They don't realize that you are the captain of the ship. And a lot of people are just letting the internal programming codes run them. And so they're just operating on the matrix programming code, not realizing that they can take control of that code. They can hack it. They can reprogram it. They can add code to it. But a lot of people aren't realizing that they are the captain. And so because they don't believe it, they think they're one of the hands on the deck. And that's the problem we're having. And it's deep because, like, for myself personally, it took me getting very ill and basically losing everything and having to almost give up. You know what I'm saying? that's when it hit me. A lot of people go through trauma before they're really, really ready to change their life. For some folks here, they have cancer and they start living life like they never lived before. And they, the doctors give them 5 years, they end up living 50 years because now they're truly living. Yeah. So we don't have to wait till there's a trauma. Actually, there is mass trauma going on right now. Whew. I mean, I turned on the news for like 10 minutes. I was like, whoa, this is like Twilight Zone. Are they really saying this? Is this what's happening? And the commercials keep coming and it's like a loop. Everything is in a loop. All the news is the same. It's the same. It's a script. The radio is the same. The records are the same. The song, until you get to the underground. You see, in the underground, right? In the earth, in Mother Earth, that's where you get new growth. That's where the mycelium network is really giving us a chance to compost, right? Our old ideas and our old selves. So in, Blueprint, for God Power 2, we're going to be talking about how to compost. And another thing that I'm going to talk about is personal kinesiology, because I'm a kinesiologist, right? And you can do this muscle testing, which is just like the lie detector, works exactly the same way. Like Billy said, a lot of this technology is not something new. It's natural technology is happening in the universe, and they're just recreating it and branding it and selling it to you. But your body, right, is a lie detector. Once you know how to tap in to get a yes or a no about anything, it's powerful. Because your gut is always communicating. Your gut, especially if you've eaten some really food that didn't kill your gut. But some of the things that we're eating, a lot of people are eating stuff that's not for them. I don't even care if you're vegan. Some people shouldn't be vegans. Some people say, wait a minute now, Dr. B, you can't be conscious unless you're vegan. Look, you snapped. Okay, I don't know what happened here, but you've got to figure out what works for you. What works for you? Because some things that you're attempting to do is working against you, and your gut and your blood and everything is actually trying to deal with something that's not natural for it. You're trying to force it because you're following the rest of the sheep. I'm not a sheep. I'm conscious. Look, most conscious folks are on a sheep farm and they don't realize it's just another level of it. You got more hay. The barn is bigger. You know what I'm saying? You got sage. You know what I'm saying? The sheep sage. You know what I'm saying? Tonight we're burning sage and we've got some unks. And somebody told me, they said, man, an unk is the most powerful thing in the world. I said, really? Yeah, I got a huge ankh in my living room, and it's like 10 feet tall. I said, so does it work? He says, what do you mean? I says, can you use it? He says, what are you talking about, B? I said, well, it's like having a brand new car outside. You got a Maserati, but you don't have a key. Can you operate the thing? Well, it stands for everlasting life. Oh, well, is it working for you? So there's tools that folks have as symbols. They don't know how to operate it. So what we'd like to do is take those symbols and show you how to actually use them.
What was some of the feedback you heard from the people that, obviously follow your accounts and go into your live webinars and everything? What's some of the feedback you heard about it?
There was a group of people in Australia who were on, and they said, I was showing these exercises that you do that change you at the subconscious level, but they also begin to realign you with your true consciousness, the true beam that's coming to you cosmically. And they said, as soon as that happened, ships appeared in the sky. All these different shapes. They actually sent this to me, and they were on my answering machine. They called and they were like, oh my God, it's really, it had that British accent. What is it, British or what is it? I don't know. South Africa. It's not South Africa. What is it? That Australian accent. Yeah. Australia. They were blown away if they saw these ships, and the ships were giving them information. There was another group of people who were in Mexico at the beach, and they said that dolphins came up and was dancing. These dolphins were communicating with them. And they said when they stopped doing the exercise, the dolphins went away. And they started doing the exercise again. The dolphins, you see what I'm saying, began to speak to us, because dolphins are, those are the memory. They carry memory. They have a bit, dolphins and whales. They communicate to each other instantly all over the world. It's deep, because they go into that place called the sound channel, which is where the warm water and the cold water come together. That's like a special, the energy there is like a river that connects. It's like an internet under the water. You see, there's a sound channel right now, right here where we are. If you know how to tap into it, there's a frequency that you have to get to. And it's not too high, but it's not too low. And some of us have been able to tap into it and would like to share that. And the comments just keep coming because people are still watching it over and over, but
Yeah.
people's lives have changed. One guy said he went from, he was making $5,000 a month. Now he's at almost $500,000 a year because he's using the techniques that you taught. You know what I'm saying? Some of those things were like, wow, I never thought about them. I mean, even me, I actually, have my own bank now. I never, people talk about this all the time on the internet, YouTube, or you can start your own bank. They never give you details.
Right.
You gave the details. I just called the number you said to call, and the lady answered, "Hi, how are you? You want to start your own bank? You must have called from Billy." Right? Next thing I know, she set me up. She said, "Well, what you have here, this insurance policy is trash." It's trash, Dr. Pete. And she starts walking me through, and within a week, I got a bank. I actually have a bank. And then she started talking about how to set these up for your children. You could, you might be able to put one in the dog's name if you got a dog or a bird or, your friend. But what we're giving in here, if you put it all together, you're not going to get it anywhere else. But we're giving it, and people are having results all over the world because there's so many testimonials. I mean, we don't even have time to put them up. I know Billy, he's got 25 lives he's living right now. So I know, you know what I'm saying? But it's deep. And one thing that I want to say, so we know, or maybe you don't know, some of you have heard about something called remote viewing. So in the 60s, the United States government and others were working on this technique where they can get 3 people who can remote view somebody, on a whole nother part of the world, figure out what they're doing, where they're at, right? They didn't create it. We were remote viewing we're remote viewing now. We're actually doing it. But what happens is sometimes you need to remote view yourself. You need to go to your old self or to your new self and have conversations with them. But when it starts happening, you hear these other voices, you freak out. And what happens is you blink. Now, this is a big thing I'm going to talk about, using eyes as technology.
Yes.
When you're tapped in, you do not blink. Because when you blink, you change the channel. Some folks, they become fearful that, oh my God, this is working. And they blink. Well, when I was a young percussionist, I had these percussionists that were like, some were from South America, Central America, from the islands and from the continent of El Cubalon. And they said all over, they would say, look, stare at a candle and create what's called an idiom, a space, an environment. And you stare at the candle, and you stare at this candle and play a rhythm and don't blink. I'm going to break the whole thing down in the class. Yeah. If you can play this rhythm and not blink, it actually changes your dimension. You become interdimensional. You're star traveling. You're traveling through the cosmic space, but the minute you blink, you're changing the channel. So I watch Billy, right? I've watched Billy, and he's doing certain things. This is not when he's on I'm watching him at his house, and we're doing these events, and he has this thing where he's looking at something and he's not blinking. I said, see, he knows this. You don't blink, because when you blink, you change the channel, because sometimes you're afraid of your own self. Most people are afraid of themselves. They're afraid of God. They're afraid of the devil. They're afraid of themselves. They're afraid of their parents who are gone. It gets really deep. But when you have courage, and this is something that Dick Gregory taught me. He said he was on an airplane, and the plane was going to hit a mountain. And they came on and said, they let the people know. He said, back in the 60s, they just told you, look, it's nothing we could do. We're going to hit a mountain, say your last prayer. So people were screaming and freaking out on the plane. He said he began to breathe. And he brought on pure courage and love. And the plane changed directions and just missed the mountain. And he said the lesson is one person vibrating in pure love, one person with pure courage can change the vibration of 250,000 people instantly. But you can't blink. Because when you start blinking, they're like, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. Oh my God, I'm going to die. You can't die.
Yeah.
So we all have the power to do these remote viewing techniques because they've used them. We all have the power of rhythm and vibration and tone and frequency, but we've got to get to the point now where we use it and stop blaming stuff on everybody and get out of victimhood. We got to be like the dragonfly. See, that dragonfly lives under the water. when it's a baby, what's it, a newt or what they call it?
Yeah.
It's under the water, and they said it doesn't even breathe. It just
Mhm.
absorbs the oxygen from the water, and finally it gets to a certain stage of its life, and it climbs up a reed, and it begins to breathe for the first
Mhm.
time, and it takes the water that's in it and pumps the water into its wings,
Mm.
right? And then its body pops open and becomes, right, this new being, but it doesn't even know the old being. It's not related to it.
Yeah.
We're at the stage right now, this year, this time, for the next few years, where we're crawling up the reed out of the water, in the water of emotion and blame and guilt and poor me. We're actually in a new place, but we have got to actually know it. You've got to know it, because when we talk about the subconscious, to talk about the subconscious, we say when something subconscious becomes conscious, that's when you could change it. If it's subconscious, you don't know about it. You don't even know you have the habit. So we're at a place right now where we're going to help folks in this workshop take what might be subconscious, take it and turn it into conscious, and then use it as the electrical voltage to change our lives.
Yeah. So powerful. So powerful. I hope y'all are listening, man. I really hope y'all are listening, because this is some real knowledge. This is some real knowledge. And what I love about the way you teach, Dr. B, is when you teach people and you drop the information on them, it's also duplicatable. So many times, there's so many teachers out there that teach, or they're attempting to teach, but they give information in a way that the person that's listening, it's hard for the average person or the masses to duplicate what this person is saying. I've been in some of those classes, but what you're doing is, when you break it down, you make it so simple. You're talking about a nymph, underneath the water, absorbing oxygen from the water, and developing and basically metamorphosizing into this dragonfly, and the whole process, and then we're correlating that to us consciously, where we are. We're just newborn babies consciously. We just got here. We just arrived. Like we're new, and we're at this stage massively, and as far as the masses go, where we're trying to come together and begin to realize who we truly are. And you break it down so good and so simple and so easy for the average everyday person. Anyone can understand what you're saying. A grown man, an elderly man or woman, even a young girl or boy, they can all grasp what you're saying. So if you're listening to Dr. B talk right now, you're listening to one of the masters. I'm telling you right now, if you want to get involved in a workshop or a class that is going to literally change your life and future generations of your own bloodline's lives by applying this knowledge that you can get into your body, that you can discern it, and you can act on it, actionable steps taking right now, not some crazy mystical stuff that you got to figure out how to become a guru before you can even access it. Knowledge you can begin to apply now, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right now, and make it work in your life. You need to be a part of this workshop, because Dr. B is coming with the fire. He's a true master. He's a living legend, in my personal opinion. I'm not just, patting you on the back and trying to rub your head and make you feel good. I personally feel like Dr. B, I only try to let people in my circle that I feel have something to contribute. And, Dr. B, you've been to my house about 3 or 4 times now?
Yep, that's right.
My circle is so tight, it's a dot. You know what I'm saying? And so why is he in my inner circle? He's in my inner circle because I trust him. I believe him. I believe in his power. I believe in his understanding. I believe in his knowledge and his wisdom. And I believe in the way that he teaches and the passion that's in his heart for it. And so you got people here, Dr. B and myself, that really have your best interests at heart, which is why I love doing these workshops, because I know just over the years of doing them, how many incredible testimonials that come back nonstop over and over again. I see people at live conferences. I just came back from the UK. So many people came up to me, Dr. B, in the UK. You and Dr. B, the blueprint for God power. It was amazing, And so everywhere I go, people bring up that workshop because it literally has altered and changed so many lives in a positive way. And if you guys want to take advantage of something amazing, you need to be a part of the Blueprint for God Power Part 2, because we're going to bring it one more time. It's going to be an amazing day of teaching. And we do mean a day, because I think the last one was 11 hours. And, I'll probably go a little overtime again this time. So it's something that's great. I don't know how long we're going to do God Powers. This might be the last one. There's only a couple of weeks left or a few weeks left to register for. So if you're going to get in, you got to get in now before you miss the boat. I remember after we got done with part 1, remember what happened, Dr. B? People were like, how do I find it? How do I see it?
Yes.
Yeah. They were scrambling,
From
because
all
they
over
heard
the
about
world,
it.
all over the world.
Yeah.
And and what's amazing is that I'll fill everyone who's here in on a secret right now. What Billy and I are doing together is working on your subconscious. The way he's speaking, the way I'm speaking, the way we have these differences. You see what I'm saying? His hair is dark, mine is light. You understand what I'm saying? We're dealing with above, we're dealing with it all. And see, one thing that's beautiful about the Billy Carson vibration is that he's actually doing all this stuff that he's talking about. When I went to his house, I was like, man, this is no joke. His house is made out of crystal bricks. You know what I'm saying? The rooms have different dimensions in the art. I mean, who put this art? Well, we did that. Who, huh? You're an architect too? Well, this was an empty shell, but then we had the vision. And see, he and his wife they're actually making it happen. Somebody said, well, they're not married yet. They're married. Come on now. They're evenly yoked. And to find people who are actually doing and not just talking about it is amazing. And Billy never, he doesn't hold it. He's giving it away. I've never seen anybody in his position attempt to give so much away. And that's beautiful. And when we share, we're giving as much as we can because we know what time it is. We're in the time of no time. We're off the clock now. They said 2012 was the end of the calendar. Well, you should have threw it out. Now let's become the calendar. And a big surprise that we have now for this event is Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith is going to be doing the opening, and he does a meditation in the beginning that sets it off on a whole nother level. If you don't know who he is, he's the black guy in The Secret. He had locks, now he doesn't. But he and I have been friends and colleagues for a very long time, and we got him to come in to actually do this, which is a real special thing because he doesn't do this. It was just for this event because he realizes the power of a forbidden K. A forbidden K. I like that one. A 4BK network and the power of what this is. This is the first time this is being done this way. Even the awards, you're breaking the spell. You're showing people this can be done, and that's beautiful. And then also we got the 7 sacred prayers. The 7 sacred prayers, which you get when you register, you get that right away, or within I think it's within the week. That alone is going to change you because you're hearing us use the prayers that we use. You can just go along and use that as the blueprint to help you get ready for what's about to happen. What's about to happen has never happened before. If you think that God Power 1 was deep, this is going all the way. We're dropping the mother load this time. You see? Then we also have the music. I just finished putting together what's called a sonic immersion. I'm still getting the name together. The sonic immersion experience, which is kind of like a sound bath, but much deeper. It's tuned to 432, the sacred frequencies. And this actually sets up the frequency tone, the sound channel within you. You see, the sounds that I'm using, the tones that I'm using are there to help guide you through this dark place. Because some of us got to go into the shadow world. And this might be a little scary. If you've got music and these certain tones to guide you, it just opens you up on another level. So I just finished doing that. You'll get that you don't get that right away. You get that once, the program happens. And then you also get the music. The song, Billy, wait till you hear this one, man.
Yeah.
I was working on a song the other night and I fell into that theta state. And that theta state is in between sleeping and awake. That's where everything is happening, that meditative state. And I just got into this like foggy little dreamy little world. And I was in my studio and I don't know what I'm going to do, man. I got so many songs. I don't know. And my hands just like, I was falling asleep and I kind of leaned on the keyboard and went, I was like, whoa. That started playing this part. I was like, oh, this is it. And I was being guided because it's all downloading. So we're going to be giving, each of us are going to do 3 musical or, I don't know if they're musical, but they're going to be inspirational pieces that also give value. I don't know where for what you're investing here you're going to get ever, because just the value of what's in it is lifetime stuff that you could use forever, and have these musical pieces, this inspirational music and the prayers in your home. Let your children hear it. Let that be playing. Turn the radio off sometime. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Let this stuff resonate in your life and watch how you change. It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed to work if you let it work. And the word is allow. Allow. Never mind I am and I could and I would. Allow. Because it's already happening. It's just that we've got to open up the valves, as I say, and just let it in. Because we've been damming up we've been goddamned. We're damming up the flow. We're doing it, not the enemy, not them, not they, not the devil, us. And when we become personally responsible, wow.
Man, that's a mouthful you just said, man, because first of all, you broke down, the value that they're getting in this workshop. But what I love how you ended it off, I allow, because at the end of the day, it's what we allow that happens to us. I try to tell people all the time, you hear me talking about, you kind of brought it up tonight as well, this end of the world doctrine, where it's the end of the world and, everything is coming to an end and this is the end of days and this is prophecy and blah, 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 blah. And people are complaining, even in the conscious community, this is what they're doing to us. And look what they're doing to us and look what they're doing to us and look how this is going. No, at the end of the day, it's what we are allowing to happen. We have to focus on what we really want to allow into our life, the positivity, high energy, vibrational things, and stop allowing the darkness and the low vibrational things. At the end of the day, we have to look in the mirror and realize the state of the world is today because we have allowed it to be that way. We, meaning the 8 billion people on this planet.
Yes.
We have allowed it. They're not doing anything to us that we haven't allowed them to do.
Yes.
We've allowed it to happen. We have to realize what to stop allowing and what to allow. We have to bring balance to that and understand, hey, like what Dr. B is going to be teaching, how do you allow abundance, peace, tranquility, right, into your life and allow that to happen? How do you allow yourself to absorb these frequencies and let it access and vibrate your cells so your cells can celebrate like Dr. B says, right? Versus allowing the dark energy from, there's another sickness going around the planet. There's another tax thing coming that's going to take the rest of your money you've been trying to save up and all these other things. And they've been doing this and look what they're doing. And they're holding us back. It's what we're allowing to happen. It's what's happening. But once you shift your mind and go from this angle to that angle, all of a sudden, boom, the shift happens and you begin to allow another vibration in. And guess what? Yin and yang, the balance comes in. Right now, a lot of us are walking around out of balance. And we have more darkness than light because we're allowing more darkness to light than light to fill us. A lot of these accounts, these conscious accounts, they just spewing darkness nonstop. They think it's about being awoke and awakened and everything else. But at the end of the day, there's no balance on these accounts. A lot of accounts are unbalanced. Yes. We have to highlight what's wrong and what's going on in the world. But at the same time, we also got to say, hey, there's light. And guess what? Light will defeat the darkness. See, and we have to allow that light to defeat the darkness. Like I said before, right now I'm in a well-lit room. It's well lit, right? My screen is dark on my cell phone, right? You see the dark screen? Is this dark screen going to make this room darker? No, it's still light in here. There's no darkness in the room. But if I turn all the lights off in this room and I turn on the pen light on my cell phone, the darkness is going to flee instantaneously from that light. It's going to flee instantly, just like this. The darkness is going to run from the light. See? So we have to allow ourselves to become the light, and the darkness is going to run away from you. I guarantee it. But you got to come to this workshop so we can teach you the fundamentals of how to act this and how to bring the action to these steps, these really important steps into your life.
And see, what we're going to be sharing is how to become adaptogens. See, an adaptogen in the herbal world is a special herb like holy basil. It doesn't act unless your body needs it. It turns off and on and adapts to the environment. When you learn to adapt to the environment, instead of you walk in the environment and let the environment take you. See, a lot of people are taken. They're taken. And if you allow the world will be like parasites. You'll be a host. They're eating you alive. People have mental parasites, physical parasites, spiritual parasites. They got stuff that they downloaded from the family. You see, that's eating them alive. But you have the power to find the middle. So in between yin and yang, you have a line in the middle. And if you look at it really closely, it's like gray. That is the seam between. So like if you have, clothes, the seam is the strongest part of the fabric. The seam. That's where two things come together. This is what we're doing in God Power. We're coming together and we're creating a beautiful bond, and we're showing love between brothers. You see what I'm saying? And giving this away at a rate. See, in some of it, we're not breaking down all the technology behind it, because that would hold you down. You're thinking too much. We've been thinking too much. You see, let's stop thinking so much and let's get into, actually having a referent. A referent is different than a reference. A referent is an actual experience. I really love, Billy, when you talk about your life. It's amazing. No matter how many times I hear it, it's amazing how what you came from and what you went through and how each thing that you went through became another rung in the ladder to lift you up. I never hear you talk about how these things kept you down. Oh, me, poor me. Oh, my God, I got bad genes. I got bad luck. You used those things like the pressure and the heat of making a diamond to make you sharp. You see, and that is amazing when you learn that. I don't know if any of you have listened to any of Billy's stories. And they actually, we all have that in us. We know about that. But how? I mean, you know what I'm saying? What you sell your toys, man? What was it now? What was the one about selling your toys?
Yeah. When I was 7 years old, we were so poor. We were eating syrup and toast and matzo crackers with butter. And my friends were going to the ice cream truck every single day. And we were all in the hood already. I'm thinking, how did they get the money to go to the ice cream truck every day? And I just wanted to get the bubble gum, the bazooka bubble gum, because back then it came with the comic strip on the inside. This is 1977. So, we're talking about a long time ago. There was no internet, no screens, no all-day cartoons on TV and all that. If you can get a comic strip and read that and get a couple chuckles, that makes your day, trying to take my mind out of where I was, this hell that I was living in this neighborhood in Miami, in Opelika. And I said to myself, you know what? I don't need my toys. Why don't I just go door to door and ask for donations for my toys? So I got this old Winn-Dixie milk crate and I threw all the toys, even the broken toys, I threw them all in there. And I went door to door. Sir, ma'am, I'm just looking for donations. I'm willing to give away my toys, a penny, a dollar, nickel, whatever you can spare. I just want to have some money for the ice cream truck. And people started giving me money, $5, a nickel, pennies, whatever. And I gave away the stuff. They were trying to make me keep the toys. And I said, no, you take it. I want to let them know there was an exchange. There was a fair energy exchange here. And I was only 7 years old. I gave away all my toys. And then I had $13 and change at the end of that little thing I did circling the block. And when I looked at the money in my hands, I realized that, wow, there's nobody coming to save me. I'm here to save myself. I literally said out loud, I'm going to save myself, because I saw at that moment, I had the epiphany. Wow, if I have a thought and then I put action behind that thought, things change. And my life was never the same ever since that day. I always knew then I was going to escape this situation. This wasn't going to be my fate.
And see, that's a beautiful example of taking what little you have and making a lot. That's alchemy right there. That's how you maximize the minimum. You take the little bit you have. See, a lot of folks are like, I don't really have this. I only have that. It's like if you say, I don't have any money. And I say, well, you have none at all? Well, I have $5. Well, see, you're saying you have no money when you actually do. Because $5 can become 5,000, 500,000, 5 million very quickly. It's just energy. But if you say you don't have anything and you keep talking about what you do not have, and you're not looking at the possibility, what he did was took what little he had and created a lot. And now he's got empires, because Billy don't talk about it all. Every time I'm down there, he's talking about something else he's got. You got what? You're working on this. You're giving this to children. You're giving money to villages, schools. What? And he doesn't talk about it. It's like my friend Dick Gregory never talked about all the projects that he gave money to and he gave help, support to. So this kind of stuff is who we all are, we're striving to be. And we're about to be home because we're going, right? You're from where you're going.
Yep.
You're from where you're going. You're creating your new home in the future. But if you're just become grateful in advance and act like you have it and realize that the little you have is just a perspective. That's just your personal point of view. That's your story about it. But the greatest people in the world have little. You know, some people were unteachable. What did they say? Einstein was unteachable. So I guess he went and made his own math to punish the teachers. You want to say I'm unteachable? They told me I was unteachable too. I am, because I'm a teacher. You know what I'm saying? I was a teacher as a child. We all were. So we're going to talk people. We're going to help people and assist you. Take what you have, polish it up, put what energy you need with it, and give you assistance and take you by the hand. Now, some people say, well, this stuff you guys are talking about is not easy. No, I didn't say it was easy. It's going to be simple. It's simple when we take a step-by-step approach. Don't worry about tomorrow. That's your problem. When tomorrow comes, they're going to call it today or to now, right? Right now, the advantage that we have. Right now, you've got the advantage. Right now, you can go push that button and say, I'm part of this God power. Mm-hmm. But the God power you've already had, we're going to tap into it. We're going to help you tap into it. And we're tapping into it because we're changing every moment of the day, all of us. Mm-hmm. But we'd like to create a new world together. Billy and I, we just don't want to be here alone. You know what I'm saying? The old world comes to an end and we're just sitting here. What we're going to do now, Billy, is no one to talk to. But there is a new world being created as the old one dies. So the phoenix is rising, right, from the ashes. You notice they're ashes. They're ashes. Somebody said, well, isn't it sand? Whether it's sand or ashes, doesn't make any difference. We are the phoenix. We are the ones we've been waiting on. Like I tell folks, I said, it's Mises. You need to go to the new Mises gospel. It's about you. Tapping into yourself and the God power within you. And that blueprint is already there. We're just going to take a light and shine it on it.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah. Man, listen, you just hit me with the Mises. That's powerful, man. Listen. That's too powerful because that's real. You know what I'm saying? That's so real. I mean, when you look and understand the fact that Jesus never said he was going to return, he said that Christ would return. And what was he talking about? Christ consciousness. That's why he said, you all would do greater things than I. What was he talking about? He's talking about the fact that when we understand how to tap into our own internal God power, and we become Christ conscious, our mind is going to be super focused and it's going to be able to bend all and reshape all reality. That's the second coming. The second coming is the Christ consciousness returning to the planet, ushering mankind back into a golden age. It has nothing to do with another guy coming back with scars on his body and all this kind of stuff and trying to become, have people groveling at his feet and all this. That has nothing to do. That the whole thing's been completely misinterpreted. Jesus never said he was coming back. He said the Christ would return.
Yes.
And what you're talking about is Mises. It's Mises. Use us. We are the Christ.
Yeah, and it's interesting because right now it's 2023, which is a 7. 7 is one of the Christ. That's the first level of Christ consciousness. It had to happen this year. It couldn't happen any other time. So God power 1, God power 2. You see what I'm saying? Happening in October, which is an 8. You see what I'm saying? And now we're talking about theta. Eta is a theta. You see what I'm saying? Which is in between places, which is also infinity. So this whole thing is set up in a very special way. What's happening? The technology behind what we're doing is deeper than deep. It couldn't even happen at any other time. Billy and I, we could have never met. Brother Rich and I could have never met at, we talk about how come I didn't know this before? You couldn't have known it before. No one knew it because what we're tapping into now, no one knows except us because it's happening in the moment. And what we're creating is we're tapping into the real creativity. That's jazz, improvisation. Some people need, like they need this 1, 2, 3 step thing, but some people just give me the tools and let me flow. Just hand me the instrument. Let me flow. Some people so we're giving it all. You see? And this is the year of the Christ consciousness, crystallized imagination. Whatever you imagine, crystallize. If you imagine the devil and they and all the things that are going to happen and the evil people in politics and, the evil corporations. Look, they got you scared. Somebody told me that they says, I want to be down with the evil corporations. Look, you better start a corporation. Is you crazy? You got everything in your name? You got everything, so they know where to come. We're coming to see you, Mr. Jenkins. No, you got to be able to, do what they do, and they're teaching you. So we don't want to hate the corporations. Right. We don't want to hate anything. Love what they're doing and realize that all of the things that are there that are oppositions, right, are there to help you because everything is connected to its opposite. Everything. Once you know this, this is deep. You can't have love without its opposite. You can't have up without down. You can't have black without white. It's all about you realizing that most of your life, 90% of your life, is course correction. When you're on that airplane, you think that thing is just going straight. Wind is blowing it. The magnetic flux is changing it. We're going through, you're going over ley lines, and you know what I'm saying? So when you're driving that car, 90% of your journey is course correction. 90%. All you got to do is be on the road, be focused on your goal 10% of the time. So what we're saying is, you've been through a lot, and we've had a lot put on us. A lot of people are going through illness and sadness, and you know what I'm saying? A lot of things. And, where we don't have the money we'd like, or we don't have the love that we like. Oh, we're going to help you with that. It won't be no excuse. You're not going to have an excuse after October 29th. There'll be no excuses. The only excuses is you missed it. You got to watch it later. You know what I'm saying? Put everything aside and take this space, take this time, because now it's about time for you to have that 10% direct course. So you're on a tangent line. You become the angel, the archangel in your life. No more waiting. No more waiting. So the blueprint for God power, it's amazing. It's not even in the future. It's happening now. So come join us, be with us. And know what thousands of people, that was a historic event that we did on the 7th. Historic. Yeah. We're taking it way above that. So call your friends, get them on the line. You might have to take the day off, to receive these beautiful gifts that we're offering. And we're grateful for all of you for joining us and being here. Let's go. It's elevation time. Yeah.
Elevation time. I love it. Elevationtime.com.
Yes.
That's Dr. B. Serious's website. Listen, he hit it on the head. He dropped the knowledge. I hope you guys are listening. I saw a couple of people do something that I just, I have to tell them, when I see it in the chat, I can't afford it. I'm broke. Those things you never, ever, ever say. Because let me tell you something. This universe is overabundant. Abundant is abundantly flowing nonstop, 24/7 at every angle and corner of the universe. At every Planck unit in space-time is complete and absolute abundance. And so when you create a spell and you conjure up a spell on yourself and say, I'm broke, or I can't afford, I can't this, I can't that, you are literally casting a spell on yourself, and you are telling the universe to bypass you with this abundance. Never once, I don't care what situation I'm in, I don't care, even when I was sleeping on the beach that one time when I was a young man, and I've lost almost everything, and I had to sleep on the beach in my car, right? I never once said, I'm broke, I can't. I found a way, is what you do. You find a way, and it comes down to priorities. What you prioritize becomes a thing that allows you to attract things back into your life. I prioritized getting off this beach, sleeping in this man's motel parking lot in my car. He let me sleep in my car in his parking lot down there in Biscayne, by Aventura, right? And I got $20, I got $30, $10 I used for gas, and the other 20 I got in quarters. This is back in the, in the 90s. And I went to the payphone. I cold called in the yellow book. If you remember, what some of you guys never even seen the yellow book, businesses, and made myself appointments to go out, because I was a marketing guy, and get new marketing contracts. And I made my appointments. I went on my appointments, and I sold my appointments and got myself back off the street into an apartment, that was a hoopty. I got myself back into a new car, gradually back into a house, right, that I had built from scratch. I came all the way back, because the recipe is always the recipe. But not once did I ever tell myself I couldn't, I can't, I'm broke. If anybody told me anything, or there was an opportunity for something for me, I didn't say, oh man, I can't afford that. I can't do that. I'm broke. Don't you know I'm broke right now? It never even came across my brain to even speak something like that on myself. So I'm just telling you, do not ever speak negativity. Don't conjure a spell on yourself, because spells are hard to break. And sometimes you can cast a spell that can last generations. I knew that there was a spell already on my family bloodline, and I had to be the one to break that generational curse by drawing a line in the sand and saying, financial literacy is out. It stops. It ends here with me. It ends with me. There is no more financial literacy. I'm drawing a line in the sand, and from this point forward, things are going to change for myself and any future offspring that I have. I spoke that out loud. You see, you have to shift your mind in the way you're thinking. Never cast a spell on yourself, because you don't know how long that spell is going to last.
And, it's interesting, because if we said that if you come to this event, you're going to get a pound of gold, everybody would go do what they needed to do to be a part of the event. Well, I'm going to tell you, you're going to get more than a pound of gold. And instead of saying what we can't afford, let's say I'm attracting. I'm allowing myself to be there. Something will happen once you conjure that up and keep saying it over and over. Picture yourself there, feel it, hear it, see it, yourself being there. You'll get a check in the mail. Somebody will drop some money. You know what I'm saying? And this is how it happens, because we've all been in places where we had nothing. I haven't even told my whole story yet. When people hear the Dr. B story, say, what? You went from nothing? Yes. I had something and gave it all up to go get nothing, and then realized that I put myself in this place where I didn't feel worthy, you see, to be wealthy. So this is an investment. So some things you put and you realize that it's going to help you become who you'd like to become. We're going to talk about how to become healthy, wealthy, and wise, how to attract love, finances, and anything you desire, because we're all attractive. We're all very attractive. You're talking about you're into this whole thing about, attract, the power of attraction, the law of attraction. You're attracting everything. You might be attracting flies. You see what I'm saying? Because you put yourself in a position, and we are saying you don't have to be in that position and stay in that position. Your genes are waiting for you to give a new message. Your genes are your genies. You are talking to yourself every second. So go and at least try by saying, I allow myself to be at the event. I allow myself to be wealthy. I allow myself. And imagine that you're going to receive 10,000 pounds of gold. You will, with this information, and act as if you can get a bunch of people together, like Billy said, and have a watch party. Have a watch party. We're okay with that. People were doing it last time, weren't they, Billy?
Yeah, they were doing it. I said, listen, they were doing watch parties everywhere we turned. I was like, hey, let them have it. Let them do it. Right. At first, I was like, hey, what are y'all doing? And I said, well, you know what? Maybe it's not a bad idea. If they can get 15, 20 people to come to their house, man, everybody get on the right frequency and start focusing on this kind of knowledge. Hey, let's let them do it.
Somebody called me the other day and they were saying, this was like weeks ago, and they couldn't afford to get my parasite cleanse program. Because I'm telling people, parasites, you got to get rid of your physical parasites and your mental parasites. So, I have this program which helps people detoxify from parasites within 28 days, which changes their life. The person said, well, Dr. B, it just costs too much, and I just can't do it. I said, well, when you're ready, just let me know. They call me 2 weeks later. And they say, yeah, doc, and they forgot what they told me weeks ago. And they say, I really want to get the cleanse, but I can't, because I just, I went to the Beyonce concert, and, we got the best seats. I said, whoa, how much was the Beyonce? Well, we spent, check this out. Me and my friends, we spent $3,000. How many friends? 3 people. To get the seat, to get the car, to get the whatever they got, the food. I says, wait a minute. It cost $3,000 to go see Beyonce? They said, well, those weren't the best seats. I'm like, and she's blowing up across the country. Like, people are going crazy. They're falling out like Michael Jackson days. I'm like, wow. See, it's all about what you desire. It's all about what you're focused on. We're saying that if you focus on something, you get it. You've been getting exactly and attracting exactly what you focus on. So if you focus on not having, you don't. And if you can't make it, that's okay. it'll still, there might be a replay.
Yeah.
There was some issues last time about getting that replay together. But
Right.
if you can conjure yourself and focus yourself at this time, just know that this year, there'll never be another 2023. In fact, what's really interesting, if you show you how deep this year is. Take your age and add it to the year you were born. If your birthday has already come, it's going to be 2023. That's how deep this year is. Take your age and the year you were born and add them together. If your birthday has already happened, it comes to 2023, because 2023 is a pivotal year. And it's going to change everything from this point on, because the whole atmosphere is changing. The genes are changing. You know what I'm saying? We're still mutating and changing, and we're becoming new beings. We're not the same. The atoms are speeding up. We're past the quickening right now. I think the quickening is old school. We're in the quickening. I think the quickening already happened. This thing is moving at quantum speed now. And whatever we think, we attract. Whatever we feel, we attract. Whatever we do becomes real. Let's break the spell. Let's do something big together as a family.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful. What Dr. B is saying, by aligning your consciousness with the energy of the universe, it's going to be working on your behalf. And you'll notice that you'll be able to effortlessly release the limiting beliefs of your negative thought patterns and harmonize with the people and opportunities and experiences that are aligning with your true purpose. Dr. B, tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, you can find me at elevationtime.com. Also, you can find me at Dr. DOCTAHB Sirius SIRIUS on IG, on Facebook, and also check out the new show, Serious Vibes. It's about music and vibration, and how I'm interviewing musicians and producers and people who are into the vibration of helping people change, and their philosophies, and how we can use music to change our life, and how the whole universe is an orchestra or an orchestra. We also have the new show, right? Ask Dr. B. That's
Dr. B,
now, right?
Forbidden Knowledge TV. Yeah, man, you got a lot of stuff going on.
Whew, this is your fault, guy. Yeah. I was trying not to do it, but Elizabeth said, "Dr. B, you gotta do it." I'm like, no, I'm watching, I'm watching Star Trek. Star Trek Discovery. It's about the mycelium network. No, you've gotta do it. And then Billy's like, "Yeah, you gotta do this, B." Yeah. And that, they hit me from both sides, yin and yang, yang and yin. I'm like, okay. You know what I'm saying? And then, it's beautiful to actually now to do this. I've broken a spell that I had with myself, and I'm going to talk about that more too. So elevationtime.com and IG Dr. B Serious. I'm not a medical doctor. And Ask Dr. B, which is a show about helping people with subconscious alignment, going through the actual, technique. And Serious Vibes every Sunday at 2:22, Eastern Standard Time. And it blew my mind when he picked this time. I don't know how you picked it, Billy. I said, it's going to be 2. Why not 12 o'clock? He says, no. Right. And I started looking. I was like, oh, wow, this is magical. It opens up a whole vortex. Yeah. So thank you, Billy. And thank you, Elizabeth. And, and Brother Rich at Black Magic, and all of you out there who are supporting this new goal, this new thing. I started out, in life as a teacher. Then I became a preacher. Then I became a reacher. Now I'm working on reaching. So sometimes I make it fun and make it crazy, because that's how some folks want it. You know what I'm saying? Let's not be so serious. So have some fun. Go laugh. Go put your naked feet on the ground, or lay on the ground naked if you can. Look at the stars. Go put your back up against a tree and breathe. Just breathe for a minute, because what you're being told is an illusion. These people are trying to get your energy. They're parasites, sucking you dry if you allow it. But if you allow the godness in you, the blueprint pops up. So thank you. Elevationtime.com. Like I say, the workshop is going to be Saturday. It's free from 11 a.m. until about 3. So thank you, Billy. Right. And thank all of you at 4BK, Forbidden Knowledge Television and YouTube. How many forbidden knowledge things you got? You know what I'm saying?
A lot. They're all over the place.
4BK. One time we have to talk about why 4BK. Why those numbers, why those symbols, and why you're doing it that way. It's really deep.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Thank you.
Dr. B, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Travel light. We don't need all that
All right.
luggage. Half that luggage is not ours anyway. So get rid of the luggage and get your own. Thank you very much.
Right.
Travel light.
Peace.